This is the Two Scrappy Chicks podcast where life is messy, the stories are real, and we dare to talk about it anyway.
Hey, welcome back. Um, was gonna do Ladies of London, and I thought it was recording, and it wasn't, and it doesn't make sense. I have Hulu, and I hit record the series, and it did not. I don't know why it's doing that. And then it will record stuff I don't want it to record. Like, um, one show that I watch, it's not in season. It won't be back till like September, but it's recording old episodes, but yet it can't record my new episodes of Ladies of London. So then I went to Peacock to see if it was there. Well, yeah, tomorrow. So, I'm gonna have to watch it on Peacock. Excuse me, tomorrow. I guess there was two episodes released. So I at least got episode 4 recorded, but not 3, and there's no way I'm gonna watch 4 without 3. So, what I did was, and this was the plan, I watched 2 episodes of House of Stassi. So that's what we're gonna go over. It's let me tell you, it's been interesting to see her. I've not followed her as much since she left Vanderpump Rules. I just know of stuff, her podcast. She wrote a book. Well, I think she's written several now. She was on the Vanderpump Villa. And what else did she do? Oh, she did a podcast with Tell Me Lies. So, all right, but anyway, um she wanted this show, so she kept pushing for it and pushing for it. And they did a test thing with her and her family and friends. So that's how this all. Sorry, I'm yawning again. That's how this all came about. So they did a recap of her career. Of course, if you didn't watch Vanderpump Rules, go watch it. I started to probably about a year ago, I started to watch it again. And I'm trying to think if I got through season 1 on that, but yeah, it's interesting. So yeah, they're showing um flashbacks of her on Vanderpump Rules, and then in 2020, Stassi and Kristen both got fired for saying racial stuff at a cast member. So pretty much the both of them had to start off, and Kristen's on the Valley. I think Stassi was invited on there, but she said it wasn't her cup of tea. And then it was that footage, that she did, it was like 14 months prior that sold her show. So it's 8 episodes, and now all of them are there, but I only watched 2. I don't know why I got the case of the yawns. It's not that late. Okay. So, Stassi's goal, she wants to be like Kris Jenner. And then they discuss her and Beau do things 50-50. No, Beau cooks. Beau does the drop off. Stassi may drop off Hartford twice a week. All right. Then she introduces her, I think it's her, George, wait, George, no, Georgia? Yeah, Georgia. Her, little half sister. Um, and Taylor, her best friend of 10 years. She was married to a man, and Taylor's a podcaster, and her wife is Teddy, and Teddy is pregnant. And there's Rob, Beau's best friend. He's almost 50 years old and still going after the 20-something-year-old. Georgie, um, Georgia, which is Beau's sister, they share a father, and Beau didn't know about her. I think she found him. Ugh, why do I keep yawning? Um, so Stassi has a fight with Beau, and she didn't realize it would affect all of her friends. And the fight was about Beau got a tattoo of his sister's name, and she got a tattoo of his name, and she asked if he would get one for her name, and he said no. So that started a fight. Um, so then they post 14 months after Tattoo Gate. So then Stassi goes to Vegas to uh, she had an event to do. Of course, she went, alone. Beau's at home with the kids. And she goes to Paris Hilton's pool party. And then she's on a panel with other girls. And then she has drinks with her Disney family. And Stassi said that she feels that she's more thoughtful and empathetic. She has lunch with Jesse from the Mormon Wives, and she met Jesse at the Vanderpump Villa. Jesse tells her about Sheena trying to get on the Mormon Lives, saying Brock was raised Mormon. And Stassi kind of shakes her head. Stassi and Sheena aren't friends. And then Stassi talks about Katie, that they had a falling out after Stassi got canceled. So, Stassi does love Halloween. She throws a Halloween party every year. And before, uh, when Beau was working, he was doing commercials and casting and directing. And back when Stassi was on Vanderpump Villa, both her sister and Beau's sister were on it too. And they both wanted to come to LA and stay with her. And Beau's sister did, but her sister is now staying with her best friends, Taylor and Teddy. And her and Stassi weren't really talking. And um now it's Stassi's Halloween party, and Teddy, Taylor's wife, comes in a Grinch costume. She's 31 weeks pregnant. Taylor was Blake Lively. Georgie, um, she was like kind of dressed up like she was like a dead person, and she painted herself like a blue color. Yeah, so Stassi was mad because her costume was better than hers. So she invited Katie, and she brought her boyfriend Nick, which I think that's who she's now engaged to. And he is in a band, I believe. And Katie follows him to his different concerts he does. And it was awkward, and but Stassi's like, let's just enjoy tonight, and can we meet tomorrow to talk? So um Beau was, with Katie being there, he was wondering, um because he's got PTSD from Vanderpump Rules. And he's like, is Stassi gonna act like she did when she was on Vanderpump Rules? Like I said, you gotta go watch Vanderpump Rules. Um, Jax Taylor was on there. I know he's a dick, but those two dated and it was a hot mess. Okay, so the next day, Stassi and Katie meet. Katie's hesitant to join the show. Stassi said, um, so the last time that they were in contact, that Katie came over and Stassi felt she wasn't um, listening. And Katie doesn't remember. And Stassi's thinking, well, of course you don't remember because you weren't listening. Um, Katie doesn't like Sheena as well. But Stassi saw that Katie had a birthday party, and invited Sheena. So she was very confused about that. So Stassi ghosted her, and Stassi, what Katie said about Stassi, she makes her world smaller. If people didn't come out of her or marry her or on her payroll, then you don't have a chance to fit in her world. And Stassi, loves that about Katie, that she is not afraid to tell her the truth to her face. So looks like they made up, and they were talking about Vanderpump Rules, that it made the girls look psychotic and, made the boys look better, and that Stassi does not want to have Vanderpump Rules be her legacy. And Stassi feels like Katie will have her back. So that was it for the first episode. I'm going to go into the second episode. And then we start with Stassi talking about Beau's sister staying an extended period of time. And now her sister Georgie is moving in. And Georgie comes over. She's got her car loaded. She brings in this dollhouse that she made for her niece, Stassi's daughter, Hartford. It is beautiful. And Stassi's like, she could make money doing this. She is talented. And they were making comments how she packed. She didn't have suitcases. She had stuff in like grocery bags. So next we talk about Beau and his best friend Rob, who is the godfather of the children. They haven't talked because of a conversation about the Eagles winning, and that Beau didn't congratulate him that his team won. So they were going back and forth. And they did not talk for months. So then Stassi was getting ready for something, and her um gosh, I think it's Kristen that was sitting at the table with Beau, and she said she got an email from Netflix that they want to do the video version of her podcast on Netflix. Beau apparently has said this several times. He would like to go back to work. And Stassi said it complicates things, and she feels she will lose money. It disrupts the family life. And Beau feels defeated, walks off. So next we have Georgie and getting together with Rob, but nothing has ever happened between the two of those. That's Stassi's sister. And apparently, I mean, gosh, she grew up quick, because I remember when I seen her on Vanderpump Rules, she was just a kid. But apparently, Georgie got a divorce and she was living in Portland, Oregon. So that's where she came from, and she's got no money. So she has to share a room with Georgia, and Georgia has weird quirks where you have to, when you get out of the bed, brush off the dead skin, open up the window, and all these other crazy stuff. Oh, can't charge your phone in the room. And Stassi's sister, Georgia, is not liking that. And she said she feels like she's expected to be like a nanny. Then they show a clips of Stassi doing the Tell Me Lies podcast with two of the girls from the show. Beau goes to see Taylor and talk about the upcoming birth because he knows she's freaking out. And he brought like a, what would you call that? Oh, God. I almost want to say sample, but it's not a sample. Like a replica of a woman's vagina with a doll, and he was trying to explain stuff to her about birthing and that, and then the baby's head comes off. Of course. That was funny. So Beau starts talking to Taylor, and he says he feels detached from Stassi. He feels like roommates. He's angry, he's resentful, he doesn't feel worthy, and she's told him you need to talk to Stassi. And Teddy and Georgia, which is Beau's sister, are they're going to have a birthday party for those two. And I guess Rob is invited, and Beau feels if he sees him, it's going to feel awkward. So now it's the day of the party, and looks like it's in a bar restaurant, and there's drag queens there. And then Rob and Beau go off and have a chat, and they're just kind of going back and forth about what was said. And Beau's like pretty much, he was annoyed, and he told him to grow up, and then Rob said, he didn't like that. And so they're kind of going back and forth, but then, Beau kind of finally says, I'm under a lot of stress. I got to do this, 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 and that. And Rob's just like, that's all you needed to say, dude. So they hug it out. And Taylor pulls Stassi to the side to tell her about Beau coming over the night before and that he was crying and that she needs to talk to him, that he is feeling overwhelmed. And, he wants to go back to work. And so at the end of this episode, that's when Beau and Stassi are having this conversation. And he said he feels like a 1950s housewife and that she's Al Bundy that comes home and puts her hand down her pants and asks for a beer. And he called her his roommate. And Stassi, she was upset and she's like, why didn't you tell me, about this? Well, he has tried. And she shuts him down when he says he wanted to go to work. She shuts him down. And even kind of went as far as insulting him, saying, I'll pay you to stay home. Let the poor guy go do what he wants because he's gonna resent you. And then Stassi made a sarcastic remark that Beau's gonna leave her for a younger person who will do physical touch with him. And he's like, really? Did you really say that? And he was not happy with her that he said that. And I feel bad for him because he is doing a lot. Now, I heard they do have a nanny, but it's like if they have a nanny or get another one that can take care of the kids and the household stuff, let Beau's time free up. I mean, it doesn't seem like money's an issue because she's getting all these deals. And the reason why um, Beau is picking up all the slack is because she keeps getting, more deals and she's working and she sometimes has to leave the house. So, um, so far, I mean, yeah, I've always like Stassi, but I can see her priorities need tweaking, and she definitely needs to treat her husband better, you know. So yeah, so I stopped at episode 2, and we'll see when I'll get to episode 3 and 4, because there's 8 episodes, so I'll do 2 each week, unless I run into having some time this week, you know. I'll do it again, but yeah, that was the gist of it. I guess stay tuned. All right. So tomorrow I will be recording The Housewives of London. I think we got a Big Brother show on. And the Valley, the first of 3 reunions. And supposedly the cameras went back up with Jax and his publicist dating. That was a publicist and like best friend to Brittany and isn't anymore. And then I heard she was a publicist to like a lot of the Bachelor people, but they don't use her anymore. So yeah, I don't think she's really making a name for herself being involved with Jax Taylor, but okay, whatever. All right. Well, that's it. Thanks for stopping by, and see you next time. We really appreciate you hanging out with the 2 scrappy chicks today. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, download, and share it with a friend. And if you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover, just let us know.